Hey y'all, welcome back to the Brown Heart Wellness Podcast. I'm Samantha Edu, and today we are celebrating. We are celebrating the end of our first One Brave Thing a Week challenge. Beer, 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 beer. The brave steps taken, the moments of courage, and most importantly, the way this challenge has helped us to uncover our most brave souls. Even when we were faced with fear, doubt, and uncertainty. It's been wild. But we're also going to get a little deep today because for every act of bravery, there is a fight that we are fighting. What stops us from making bold moves? Why do we hesitate to step into the fullness of who we are? And how do our histories, our upbringing, the systems we are navigating, and the expectations placed on us keep us playing small? Today, we're going to really talk about what's holding us back and how do we move forward. This is a conversation about bravery as a soul journey, not just a physical action journey. I think sometimes we kind of get caught up in doing the action rather than understanding that it's so much deeper than that. And if you've been using the root framework, then you see this is a soul journey. I'll be sharing what I've learned about myself throughout this challenge, especially the part of the root framework that always challenges me every single time. All right, so let's get into it. Of course, y'all already know how we're going to start. We're going to start with our brown heart affirmation. Today, I stand boldly into my courage. I release the fear that tells me I'm not enough. I trust that my bravery will meet me exactly where I am. Hold on to that affirmation as we reflect on what it really and truly takes to be brave, not just for a moment of bravery, not for a challenge, but really as a way of life. All right, y'all. Now, let's be honest. Bravery is not just about doing a thing. It's about all the things that come before the thing, right? It's about the self-doubt that comes up, the imposter syndrome, the excitement about doing the thing, asking yourself, what if it doesn't work out? Even if you're asking yourself, what if it does work out? It's a lot of mental gymnastics that goes into doing one brave thing and a lot of fear. Many of us were raised to believe that failure was unacceptable, that mistakes weren't just lessons, but actual reflections of our worth. This mindset from childhood followed us right on into adulthood, keeping us stuck, afraid to take risks, and many times afraid to often try. And for those of us that are navigating spaces where we have historically been excluded, Black women, other people of color, marginalized communities, there is an added weight to your backpack. The constant questioning of, am I good enough? Do I belong here? Let's be real. Sometimes the spaces don't make room for us. And that's a different kind of battle. There's even more mental gymnastics to do. It's not just fear that's showing up. It is literally systemic conditioning that tells us that we have to earn our right to take up space. So here's the thing. Staying small is not a protective factor. It doesn't protect us. It actually keeps us invisible. I don't know about y'all, but I'm not trying to let fear keep me from showing up the way I know I should be showing up in my fullness. I'm not going to do it. So I'm just going to keep working through that root framework and getting past the part of it that just really keeps coming up for me. Throughout the One Brave Thing a Week challenge, I've been working through the root framework with you all. And I'll be honest, one part of it messes me up every time. I don't know. It doesn't matter how many times I've done one brave thing a week. It doesn't matter how many brave things worked out, how many lessons I've learned, how many outcomes that I thought were amazing. Like, it does not matter. Once I get to the O in overcome of the framework, I'm stuck. So the root framework, the R in the root framework stands for reflect, which means I can name what's holding me back. I can see the barriers that are there very clearly, or I'm working to reflect, like I'm reflecting on what's there. The O in the root framework stands for open, being open to new opportunities, being willing to take risks. And then the next O in the root framework is for overcome. This is where I struggle. It's like an invisible pin right there, boop, because overcoming means trusting myself, trusting that I'm enough, trusting that I'm where I should be, trusting that I can take the step even if the outcome is uncertain. Like, every time I get to the overcome, last week, I found myself doing something really brave, recording with the production crew. I cannot wait to share that information with you all. And oh my gosh, I woke up and I was so anxious and overwhelmed and just having all the thoughts, that we've already talked about. And it was so funny because I prayed about it and I messaged my friend and, you know, her response to me was like, girl, don't make me slap the imposter syndrome out of you. And I was so tickled. It was like, wow. And then my husband messaged me and just told me, I'm gonna do great, and I'm where I belong, and all of the things. And it was like holding those two different responses. One of them was like, "Girl, you are her," which is exactly what she said. You are her, and him telling me in a more compassionate way. And hers is loving and compassionate too. And I was just like, girl, you are her. And I immediately started to pray and just kind of let that fall away from me. But in that moment, it was still a struggle. And I think that knowing that is a win for me. Regardless of the outcome and doing that brave thing, that overcoming that struggle was a win for me. And every time I get to the O and I get stuck, overcoming that is a win for me. And once I push back past the fear, then I get to the T in the root framework, which is for thrive. And this week we're on the T. We are thriving. We are celebrating. But we could not have gotten here until we decided to choose ourselves in the process of being brave. So many of you have shared your own brave steps with me. I'm talking leaving toxic jobs, walking away from relationships that were no longer serving you, prioritizing your self-care in a way that you've not done before. Like, these things have just really encouraged me to continue doing brave things while also allowing this brave work to become foundational for Brown Heart Wellness. These are the moments that show us bravery is a soul journey, and each step forward is proof that we are capable. So if you start seeing Brown Heart Brave Soul all around, just know that's where we are. That is a foundational mission of Brown Heart Wellness, is to build and create space where people can walk into their bravery, because we are brave souls. The community has shown up. Let's celebrate some of the incredible brave steps from the past 4 weeks. Someone landed a new job after months of doubting themselves. Someone set a long overdue boundary and stuck to it. We had people choosing themselves and their peace even after a long relationship. Someone walked away from a situation that no longer served them. For me, I facilitated a clinical training within my org, which was, something that was a barrier for me. I do lots of trainings on diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, and have done them boldly, and found that this area was one where I was just not really sure, but I pushed through and facilitated a clinical training on unconscious bias and decolonizing therapy. And I recorded a production shoot, which was the most amazing experience. I got approved to offer CEUs, continuing education units, for the state of Washington, where I will also be doing an unconscious bias training for licensed therapists in the state of Washington. I pitched myself to companies for brand deals, which I wouldn't have done before so boldly. And I learned to give myself grace in my business. But most importantly, I learned that bravery doesn't always match the outcome I expect. And that's okay. That is such a hard part though, right? Because usually when we do an action, we are actually so tied to the outcome of that thing. Like, it should be whatever it is we think it's going to be. And that's when we deem it as good or worthy of our trying. And that's just not the way it should be. Bravery is not just about winning. It's about training your brain to try. Each time we are brave, we are training our minds to believe that it is capable, to believe that it can do hard things, to believe that you have its best interest and you are willing to go over and beyond to make sure it has space to show up in the world. There's so much room in this world for us to stand tall and be giants. Let's do that. Even when the outcome is not what we wanted, the act of bravery in itself is a win. Okay. Let's transition into our Brown Heart Mindful moment and take a moment to just breathe this all in. Bring it all in. Breathe it all in. Closing your eyes if you feel comfortable doing that. Let's just settle in this celebration. Taking a deep breath. Inhaling the success of this challenge. And I want you to think about a moment when you chose courage over comfort. Maybe it was big, maybe it was small, but it was definitely brave. And take a deep breath, settling on that. Now I want you to think about, where is the fear still lingering? We are in the last week of our One Brave Thing a Week challenge, and I really want us to just kind of break through. If there are some areas where we still need to overcome, and this is going to be ongoing, but if there's that one brave thing you've been thinking about, start to bring up, where is the fear still lingering? What is a small way you can challenge that fear this week? I want you to breathe in confidence. Breathe out hesitation. We are going to end this challenge doing that big brave thing. Remember, you are a brave soul and you are worthy of showing up in your fullness. I want you to carry that with you. These are your affirmations to keep you doing brave things. Today, we talked about the real challenges of bravery. What stops us? What does it cost us? And how do we move forward? We celebrated the One Brave Thing a Week challenge, and we're going to keep celebrating because we're going to keep being brave because it's a part of our lifestyle. It's a part of our soul journey. And we reflected on how the root framework helps us uncover our most courageous selves. So, y'all know the challenge doesn't stop here. We will be restarting the One Brave Thing a Week challenge every quarter, and I would love for you to keep going with us. You can join me on Substack for more support, journaling prompts, and brave resources. And if you need deeper guidance, I'm open for coaching and therapy sessions now to help you unpack what's come up for you. So, ways that you can join our community: you can join me on Substack for deeper reflections. You can find me on the socials, and you can work with me coaching on brave goals or therapy to process your root journey. Thank y'all for showing up as your brown heart, brave soul selves, and for this community. Thank y'all for joining in. On our next episode, we'll be talking about going from burnout to boundaries, leading without losing ourselves. So I'm also looking to add guests to the Brown Heart Wellness podcast. So if you know someone who would make a great guest for the Brown Heart Wellness podcast, please let me know. Feel free to send me an email. I will leave my information in the show notes. You can always DM me anything. Let me know who might make a great guest for the Brown Heart Wellness podcast. And if you know a podcast that's looking for a guest and I might be a great fit, let me know that too. In the meantime, y'all take care of yourselves. All right, bye.